How many moments in a day do you spend looking at something? I'm not talking about seeing something that happens to catch your eyes, but intentionally, mindfully looking at something and giving it your undivided attention. In this age of smartphones and social media, it's practically impossible for us to pay attention to what we're looking at. But can we use art to give ourselves even just a few moments respite from this constant state of visual distraction? In this episode, we're going to tap into the therapeutic power of art by really looking at the works of Jean-Siméon Chardin, an artist who is celebrated for the way he paid attention to seemingly mundane things. Before we begin, I recommend that you sit comfortably in a quiet place with earbuds or headphones connected to your device so you can immerse yourself in this experience. You don't need to learn anything or remember anything about these paintings I'm about to show you. Just follow my voice as we look together. Here we see a small still life of a kitchen table with a copper pot, a ceramic bowl with a long handle, a mortar and pestle for spice, as well as 2 eggs, an onion, pieces of fish, and leeks. These objects are spread out horizontally on a stone larder. The gently sloping triangular composition gives the picture a sense of stability and balance. The colors also add to this ambience of unity with warm earth tones dominating the palette. In the center, we see the orange-brown of the copper pot, set off against the white-gray of the fish with hints of pink flesh. The same contrast repeats with the onion and the 2 eggs. The deep brown of the bowl with the handle, and the beige of the mortar and pestle bookend this group. And the wispy roots of the leek and the thin, papery onion skin on the right mirror each other with their delicate textures. Unity and balance also permeate this picture, but there's a more pronounced sense of drama in this kitchen scene arranged in a vertical pyramid. The food and the utensils are placed in front of a niche, which brings out the sculptural quality of this display. On the top, 2 herrings are tied with straw to a hanging hook, and directly under them, 2 cucumbers rest in front of a cauldron turned on its side to show us its hollow interior. Water glistens in a glass, slightly off-center on the foreground. On the right, there's a spice jar and a head of garlic with its thin, wiry roots. Again, warm tones prevail in the composition. The white and blue contrast of the herrings repeats in the faience pitcher's decoration underneath. Although the pitcher has an imposing presence, its white body doesn't disrupt the balance of the rest of the picture. And look at how the shiny, smooth surface of the faience reflects the rough texture of the cucumber. The eye moves across the convex curvature of the pitcher back around the concave interior of the cauldron in a curved path. And as a color accent, 3 luscious red cherries shine on the left bottom corner, one dangling off the ledge. The bright red of the cherries is a visual palette cleanser for the entire picture. And we'd be remiss to overlook the curling and twisting design painted on the faience pitcher, visually echoing the cherry's natural forms. Onto a composition with a more morbid subject. Indeed, the French word for still life is nature morte, which directly translates to dead nature. We have dead game from a hunt and an orange displayed on a larder. The diagonal angle of the pheasant's tail feather makes his post-mortem stillness that much more dramatic. The bird's deep, rich color and theatrically twisted neck that hangs off the ledge serve as an anchor for the composition. And on its left, there's an orange with a few of its green leaves. On the other side, 2 rabbits are piled one on top of another. Their soft, gray fur harmoniously blends in with the background, whose emptiness underscores the quiet of the scene. It is as if the rabbits are dissolving into the atmosphere in their perpetual sleep. And this single drop of red blood collecting on the tip of the rabbit's nose in its swelling liquid form holds the promise eventually to fall, and with it, the dramatic tension of this silent moment. These, I think, are the most glorious peaches in all of art history. I just can't get over how Chardin rendered the velvety skin of the fruit in paint. Can't you just feel the fuzz of the peach in your hands? The weight of the slightly mushy but firm spheres? The sweet fragrance of the ripe fruit? That velvety down where the gray, the beige, and the pink bleed into each other. Contrast that with the dry, hard walnut shells and its equally dry, hard nut inside. Seeing these together maximizes the sensual qualities of each that you can feel in your body by looking. Another key contrast in the painting is that of the silver goblet and the grapes. The hard, cold, reflective glimmer of the silver goblet wrought by human hands, and the soft, translucent, juicy shine of the grapes ripened in the warmth of the sun. I think this one takes the cake as the most magical of Chardin's still life paintings. And yes, the pun is intended, because the picture shows an impressively risen brioche. Flanking this magnificent centerpiece are a red vinegar cruet and an elaborate porcelain sugar bowl, both decorated with gold. Cherries, biscuits, and peaches adorn the tabletop. The spiraling tower of a brioche is just so mouth-wateringly attractive, baked to golden brown perfection. You can see where the bread burst open from its seam on the left. It sits on this platter so proudly with a crown of orange blossom sprig signaling its triumph. Note how certain colors reverberate throughout the composition. The golden brown flesh of the brioche and the same notes in the peach deepening into the pink red. The pale beige of the biscuits. The red of the cherry and the darker crimson of the vinegar in the cruet. The white and green of the orange blossoms resonating in the translucent porcelain body and its painted decoration. Among these visual connections you find in these immobile things, you can see the affinity between nature and man-made things that is at the core of Chardin's art. The lidded porcelain sugar bowl mimics the shape of the brioche. The pale pink porcelain flower on the top competing for our attention with the orange blossoms atop the brioche. You can see that Chardin's goal was not to replicate the precise appearance of these things in a photographic sense. Instead of copying everything exactly, he deliberately left certain details fuzzy and indistinct, and we can clearly see traces of his touch through his brush strokes. While some have pointed to this quality of Chardin's art as a forerunner of the modernist aesthetic that would dominate over a century after the artist's time, what we can discern from these canvases is Chardin's way of looking, the way he paid attention to the texture, the form, the color of these things, how the light falls on them, how the air circulates around them, how things talk to each other. These paintings are testament of the consummate, sustained, deliberate focus with which the artist looked at these objects from his point of view. And this art of paying attention that Chardin translated into paint on his canvases casts a magic spell on the way I look at things. And I'm not alone in thinking this. Listen to and savor these words from the French writer Marcel Proust on the mysterious power of Chardin's art. Your awareness, being too sluggish to reach down for such pleasure, had to wait for Chardin to take hold of it in you and raise it to a conscious level. If you can say, looking at a Chardin, this is as intimate and comforting and vital as a kitchen, then as you walk through a kitchen, you will say, this is intriguing, this is grand, this is as beautiful as a Chardin. You will yourself be a Chardin, though no doubt less great. Great to the extent that you love him and become as he was. Yet someone for whom, as for him, metals and stoneware will come to life, and fruits will speak. Seeing that he has confided to you the secrets he knows from them, they in turn will no longer hold back from sharing these with you. Still life will become, above all, alive. Like life itself, it will always have something new to tell you, some marvel to highlight, some mystery to reveal. If you listen over several days to what his painting can teach, everyday life will delight you. And having understood the life within his painting, you will have mastered the beauty of life itself.